How are you going to blow my mind today?
Yeah, I hope so. Here's what I'd like to do is talk about active AI allies like you and I have been for a long, long time, and how we want to recruit them for the Senior AI Foundation. And what I thought was you sent me that really cool prompt for Gemini, and I tested it and I got a really great response, and like you
Yeah,
did.
it's great.
Yeah. And so here's what I thought we would do. Share a 5-minute podcast kind of about why you should want to join us and then how to join us. So then after this little 5-minute video, we can comment on it. I think it's pretty good. And then what I thought we'd do is either I will use your prompt, or ideally, you would use your prompt, open up Gemini, put that little prompt in, and then I thought what we would do is show people how to move it over to a free NotebookLM account. Because what they can do, and I'm recording right now, so this will all be in our podcast for this week. So what I thought I'd do is I want to get this 5-minute video on the record. Then I'd like to teach people how easy it is to become an active AI ally. Is start to play little brief videos like you can create using, for example, that prompt in Gemini, and then we can show people how to open Gemini, how to use your prompt, and then how to open your own personal Notebook LM and create an audio or a video brief. And then we can play your video brief in our Friday meetings, which are for active AI allies. So these Friday meetings will be for active AI allies, and sometimes they'll be able to be there, and sometimes they won't. But if we teach them how to create their own little brief story using Notebook LM, then we could share their little story, like I did last week, even if they're not here. And I've got some really amazing new allies. Tristan of One Haven was a company that provides security for families and particularly seniors. So she's gonna become an ally. She and I have been, I've interviewed her, and she and I have been communicating back and forth about the startup that she is developing for security to keep seniors safe, security wise. Because I'm a storyteller, but she is a security tech expert. So that will be fun to have that relationship. How's that sound?
Sounds great. Also, too,
Okay, so
there's a Santa Clara County organization for seniors also. So that I'll send you a link to that. I think that possibly could be a good collaboration too.
no doubt. Or, I love the term ally. I really do. I think because really, if you think about it, what we really all want, and I think what we're all looking for is active allies. Now, what does that mean? Okay, you can be an ally in name only. Okay, like, hey, I'm not against you. I'm an ally, but I'm not really doing anything for you, and that's fine. But you are an active ally. There's a big, big difference in that. And that's what we want to find is we want to find active allies and people who want to find active allies, learn from active allies, or we want to recruit people who are maybe an inactive ally to become active allies and why they should want to do that. So I'm going to play this video. And if you could open up your Gemini account, maybe we'll have you share your screen and/or your notebook account if you have one. If you don't, I will use mine because I do want to train people today how to become an active ally with us on Fridays and how easy they can do it. Even they can start as a beginner just with a Gmail. So it's pretty simple. We're going to take them step by step. So first of all, let me share a kind of an overview video of the why we hope you will become an active ally.
Sounds like a good plan.
Good. I think so. I think it's a good one. Here it is.
Whenever we talk about AI and senior citizens, the conversation almost always goes to the risks, the confusion. But what if we're looking at this completely backwards? What if this isn't a problem to solve, but actually one of the biggest opportunities of our time? Okay, let's really get into this. This right here, this simple idea is at the very heart of a new movement. And it's not about dumbing things down, not at all. It's about making incredibly powerful technology clear and accessible for everybody, especially for people who have a whole lifetime of experience. It's a total shift in how we approach this stuff. So why is this so important? I mean, really? Why now? Well, for starters, seniors control over half, that's 50% of the wealth in the United States. They are a huge economic and social force. So ignoring this group isn't just a disservice. Frankly, it's a massive strategic blunder in this new digital world. So to tackle this head on, a new nonprofit has stepped up with a really clear mission. It's called the Senior AI Foundation, or SAFE for short. And its entire goal is to bridge that growing digital gap and truly empower older adults in this new age of AI. To really get why this mission is so crucial, we have to understand the hurdles. I mean, for a lot of seniors, going online can feel like facing a wall of misinformation and, let's be honest, fraud. And that can lead to this growing feeling of being isolated and a loss of what experts call agency, which is really just that sense of control over your own life. And SAFE's game plan? It's pretty ambitious. They want to be a trusted, neutral guide. Their mission covers everything from personal safety training to using AI for personal and business growth, all the way to empowering local media and making sure AI is used to keep our democracy safe. It's a real big picture vision, for sure. But look, a great mission is one thing, but how you actually make it happen, that's everything. And that's where their really unique senior simple approach comes into play. First things first, they are changing the words we use. Forget about negative terms like laggard or digitally illiterate. They've come up with a new term, AI bloomers. It's a positive, empowering way to describe seniors who are jumping in and using this tech for their own personal growth and to just keep on learning. This whole approach is built on 3 simple, but honestly really profound ideas. 1, patience. That means listening first and moving at a pace that's comfortable for the learner. 2, clarity. No confusing tech jargon, just relatable examples. And 3, and this is the big one, respect. Honoring that incredible lifetime of wisdom that every single person brings to the conversation. And as we'll see, that wisdom is more valuable than ever. To make this all feel natural, they use these fantastic, relatable metaphors. My favorite is the Senior AI Kitchen. The idea is that complex AI concepts are broken down into simple, easy-to-follow recipes. It makes the whole thing feel less like a stuffy tech lecture and more like you're just following a familiar cookbook. It's brilliant. Now, I want to be clear. This isn't just a nice idea floating around out there. It's a real movement that is quickly gaining some serious traction. And it's not just about getting bigger, it's about gaining influence where it really counts, inside the tech industry, in government, and in the public conversation itself. It starts with getting inside the industry. SAFE has been invited as accredited press to the Human X conference, which people are already calling the Davos of AI. They're going to be there, on the ground, interviewing the world's top AI leaders, making sure the perspective of seniors is heard right at the center of the global AI conversation. And then it moves to influencing actual policy. SAFE is now collaborating with Ireland's amazing age-friendly AI initiative. This just shows that making AI accessible isn't just a nice idea for a nonprofit, it's becoming a real national priority for governments that are thinking ahead, and they're looking to SAFE to see how it's done. And finally, it's about changing the whole public narrative. There's an upcoming feature interview in Authority magazine, which gets spread across platforms like Medium and even BuzzFeed. This is going to take their mission to a massive mainstream audience, and it could completely change how we all think about age, wisdom, and technology. And this whole way of thinking leads to what might be the most important lesson here. We all think we're afraid of change, right? The real danger is not changing. The real danger is getting stuck in a place that just doesn't work for you anymore, unable to move forward. So, all of this, the mission of SAFE, their methods, these human stories, it's all building to one single powerful takeaway about the role of seniors in this new age of technology. It brings up a really fascinating question, doesn't it? In a world where artificial intelligence is making raw information and intelligence super cheap, almost like a commodity, what's the thing that becomes truly valuable? What's the new king? The answer is one word: wisdom. It's the one thing AI cannot create from scratch. It's the perspective, the context, the judgment that only comes from real lived experience. This means your experience is now a superpower. Seriously, AI can crunch the data, it can give you the raw intelligence, but it desperately needs the guidance of human wisdom to be used well and to be used ethically. And that makes the contribution of seniors not just nice to have, but absolutely essential. And that is why this all matters so much. This isn't just about teaching older people how to use a new app. It's about making sure that the collected wisdom of an entire generation isn't left on the sidelines, but is instead amplified and woven into our future with this powerful new technology. So we're left with one final and, I think, vital question. The question isn't whether you can keep up with technology anymore. The real question is, how will you use your unique wisdom to guide it? How will your experience shape the future?
All right. So that was generated by NotebookLM. And so, Ron, you can comment, and then I'd like you to cook up some content with Gemini in our Safe AI kitchen and notebook. So any comments first?
I thought it was an excellent short introduction just to the whole issues that we're dealing. Okay, can you see that?
Oh, there we go. Now I see it. Okay, now we are looking at Ron's Gemini screen, and this is where we can start for training seniors to become our AI allies. So Ron, you shared that really cool prompt. I don't know if you already created something with it or if you want to prompt it in again, but let's show people how easily they can begin to use AI starting with Gemini.
Okay, well, actually, I was thinking I just did a really quick walk this morning also to get some sunlight. So I'm thinking, because I think, when we were addressing seniors, I think health is one of the big issues. So let me see. This is just top of the mind, of course. And
And the other thing you could ask is to ask Gemini to create a prompt for Notebook or just a response, either one.
okay, so I typed in, how can I get the most out of my morning walk to move and get sunlight? Which is my own personal question too.
Okay.
Okay, so it says, so this all comes from, well, a lot of it comes from Andrew Huberman. Okay, so
Oh, okay.
it talks about sunlight, which really helps reset your circadian rhythm. And then can you read it, or should I let me make it?
Why don't we do this? Why don't you copy and paste it, and then let's put it right into Notebook and see what we can get out of Notebook from this one simple prompt.
Okay, so I can copy it.
So can you open Notebook?
Okay.
Okay, so can you go to create new? In fact, yeah, why don't we go to create new? And then if you can go to upload content, you have a copied text at the bottom down there, and then we'll just paste in the text that you copied right into NotebookLM,
Okay.
and then you can insert it. All right. So then over there on the right, why don't we go over and create some content? Let's start with the video overview. And then as we're talking, we can come back later in the meeting and share that video overview so people can see that. Then why don't you move over to the left to the audio overview. And if you click on the pencil, Ron, if you click on that, click there. Now there, you can select, I'd select short. See the length at the bottom there where it says
Short,
select
right.
short? Yeah, select short first. Now go to brief up above. Select that, and now hit generate.
Okay.
Okay, now let's go back to the audio overview and click the pencil again. Okay, and this time let's just click generate because it will do the default deep dive, and that will be about a 15-minute podcast. We'll generate that.
So it's doing two things at once?
Yeah, it'll do as many things as you want. So now you can go over to the right again to reports and click on briefing doc. That's the third, briefing doc. Okay, and back to the right again. Now let's go over to slide deck on the right.
So slide deck.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a great tutorial. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, this is how easy it is. I mean, what is it taking us? A couple of minutes? And then
Right
what I would do is I would go over to the icon of Notebook over there in the top left and click on that.
here.
Yeah. And then open the notebook again. Right now it still says Untitled Notebook, but if you click on it, it's probably named the Circadian Walk, Optimizing Your Morning Movement and Light. And that is what it is now named. So that content is generating. If you see over there on the right, how things are circulating down at the bottom of the right
Oh, yes.
column, that means this is generating content, and we will come back to it in the meeting. So why don't you unshare? I will share some more content for this meeting, and then we'll come back to it at the end of the meeting and share maybe the short video, which would be a great way to demonstrate, because these short videos, Ron, I'd like to teach people how to create these short videos like you just did. And it's, we started it. How long did that take, the whole thing? Maybe 10 minutes?
Oh, yeah. That demo probably saved me at least an hour or more of trying to figure it out myself. Seriously.
It's that simple. And then if people don't want to go up to the intermediate level, if they want to just stay with the beginning level of only using Gemini, they can take the brief, they can take the text out of it that it created, the report, they can share it in Gmail, they can share it as you can create a social post. You can do so many different things. So that's good. Now I'm going to share some more content. Let me open up the next video or next overview. I think I'm going to share the slideshow. Now you saw Ron creating a slideshow. So I'm going to share the slideshow that I've already created. So this is the slideshow that was generated by Gemini, just like Ron created. All of this will be created in Ron's prompt into NotebookLM. So let's kind of go through this and we'll put this on the record of this meeting. So this is about the SAFE, the Senior AI Foundation, lifelong learning on the go. So people have tablets and notebooks, and you just prompted it about taking a walk in the sun, and you can be listening to a podcast as you are walking. So if you want to comment on any one of these slides, Ron, you're certainly welcome to do that. I'll just go through a little overview, and we can even go back. This is about creating not just a traditional documentary that has an end to it, a finished product. That's over there, what you see on the left, or a finished book. Well, now that we are in the era of AI, there's not going to be an end to AI or our ongoing learning about it. It's always fluid. So I've created the AI Living Book series. It's a documentary series for lifelong learning that's always going to be fluid and always going to be updated on the go, so people can stay current to avoid the confusion. And you can become and join us as an active AI ally on our team. We have a goal to train and recruit seniors to participate at their own timing, their own level. We have a strategy, and we have a desired outcome. We have a methodology of checking in and following up. So Ron was checking in and following up with Gemini this morning, and he talked about what he wanted to learn today and helped him to kind of line up his daily check-in. And then Ron and I have a weekly check-in as active AI allies for each other. I learn from him, he learns from me. And then we want to use a safety filter, and that's what Crystal Tristan of One Haven provides, is a security filter. And then we have distribution. Now, Ron will be able to download the content he created from Notebook into his desktop and then upload it directly to YouTube for distribution. So that's one of the distribution channels. So what we did is we started at the core of Gemini, and then we can move what is created in Gemini, as you just saw Ron do, and starting from scratch in 10 minutes, we can share some of the text that we'll review in Gmail, which now has Gemini inside of it. We can share it with Notebook, which we just did. Down at the bottom right, we can distribute it through YouTube or through a paid distribution that I use called rss.com, which will distribute audio into Apple Podcasts and all over the place, Spotify, etc. And then for kind of advanced users, we have Gamma.app. When you really want to have a website, there's even a free account on Gamma.app that you can create a website with the content to host the content that you created with Notebook. And so we want people to have direct access to the source. We want to help them get focused, because my motto is, when you work with the best, you can safely ignore the rest, because there's so many run down rabbit holes all day long. There's so much. So you really want to be able to safely put on the blinders and stay focused and make the best use of your time. Then we want to have a global alliance. I learned the 4 pillars of AI from Oxford, which I've created into almost like the levels, like a 3-dimensional chessboard for your perspective, looking down into all of the levels of AI and have a really high overview so you can pick and choose. Now, I was honored to be asked by Authority Magazine to participate in an interview about impactful communication. My son Joe and I worked on that because they wanted a video and they wanted photographs and a lot of content, and it was exciting. So we really wanted to do the best job we could. So we put that together and sent that off to Authority Magazine, and that will be released shortly. And then once we have that, that's almost like an ultimate press release that I can use as a way to open up other media for other publicity. And then I'm also honored to be asked by Human X, the AI Expo in San Francisco in April, to have a podcast booth there. And I want to be interviewing people and networking with everybody who attends the event. And then I'm really excited to have connected with the Age-Friendly AI Ireland initiative. They are just launching. They are doing a lot of research and networking with seniors to ask them what they want to learn and how they want to learn AI. So I think that is a great learning model. I will be learning from them as an ally to them. I want to promote them and I want to learn from them and support them in any way I can. And then we have the growth engine. I am launching a 501c3 nonprofit to gain the fuel tank there, for the engine of a $10,000 a month Google ad grant to build the Gmail list using Google AdWords, which I've used in the past very, very successfully. I will also use classified advertising, such as in patch.com. For support local media to support our democracy, and then as well as TV and radio advertising and publicity. So the goal is driving traffic to the Senior AI Podcast Foundation to amplify the message globally. And again, big, huge, fat goal. Why not shoot for the moon when you've got AI power behind you, where anything is possible over time, to reach 1 million seniors globally with building the Gmail list, networking at high levels, local levels, and then distribution channels, which are readily available to anybody really in the era of AI. And it's really about the living history in the future for families, the Senior AI Foundation, education for our families, our super seniors, us seniors who have parents to take care of, and then families, our children, and our grandchildren. So that's a little overview, Ron. I will stop share or go to any slide that you saw or liked. Would you like here? I'll go back to the top here, and there's Ron sitting at home with his tablet. We'll pretend. So anyway, Ron, any comments that you have?
Let's see. I think if you go to the next slide about the learning books, I think that's a really insightful way to address the dynamic changes that are happening every day in terms of a resource, right? It's a living resource, or it's a living book, right? That has content that is totally up to date. And I think that is a real key because, I like to read. There are physical books, and then there are audio books, and then books you can read on screens. But they're very static. But I think when you have these living books online available, any time of the day and over days anyway, they can be so totally up to date. It's like the news, right? Yesterday's news is old news. And so,
Exactly.
but still, the living book can have a chronology, I guess, too, to it, so you don't discard the past information, but you're constantly building on it. So I think that is really, and especially, there could be different chapters in the book which you probably thought of, like here's introduction to AI, here's Gemini, here's NotebookLM, and then just a thought just occurred to me is you can have a section which might be contributors, right? So people
Yeah.
they contribute to the living book.
Yeah, they can create chapters. And the other thing is, once you have a link to a living book, that living book can be updated by me using the same link. So in other words, you don't even have to have another link without, any change on your part. We can update it on our part. And when you click on that link, it will automatically be updated. So you're right. It's a very powerful way to go. Now, let me stop share and ask you if you want to check your Notebook LM. Has it rendered the content that we created, or I'll share another video?
Looks like it's all done.
Okay. So why don't you, now you can do two things, screen share again, and we'll show how you can download it right to your desktop or share it right here in the meeting. Okay, it's start. There we go. Okay, now just as a note, Ron is using the dark mode and the list. You can use a broader graph, or you can use the light mode. So whatever you want, it's just your choice. Okay, so you have a video created, and over there, see those three dots on the right, way far over on the right, Ron? With those three dots, you can download the video that you generated. It says the circadian walk.
Is this one?
Yeah, the second one down. Second one down. That's the slideshow. Now click on that, and now you can see you can download it, you can rename it, you can share it, or you can delete it. We don't want to delete it. Now you can download it and upload it into a Gmail, or you can actually, the short ones, you can even load right into a text message because they're pretty small and lightweight, or you can just share it. So why don't we open the video now by clicking on the video on the right-hand side. Okay, now you can make it larger.
Hey everyone, and welcome. So a lot of us love getting out for a morning walk, right? But what if I told you you're probably missing out on its biggest, most powerful benefits? Today, we are going to dive into how to turn that simple stroll into a powerhouse routine that'll sharpen your focus all day long and, believe it or not, help you sleep like a rock at night. So let's just ask a question right out of the gate. Is your morning walk a huge missed opportunity? I mean, you're already doing the hard part. You're getting out there, which is awesome. But are you cashing in on the full biological reward for your time? Well, let's find out. Okay, first, let's picture the classic good morning walk. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You step outside, you immediately pop on your sunglasses, you've got your phone in hand, maybe a podcast or some music is already playing, and yeah, it feels good. You're moving, you're starting the day right. And don't get me wrong, it absolutely is a positive habit. But what if, and this is the key, what if a few tiny science-backed tweaks that take literally zero extra time could completely supercharge the benefits? We're talking about way more energy, way sharper focus, and a much, much better night's sleep. And this is where we get to the really cool part. This is the science that turns a good walk into a truly great one. It's all about creating something called a circadian anchor. So what on earth is a circadian anchor? Well, think of it like hitting the master reset button for your body's internal 24-hour clock. And it turns out morning sunlight is the most powerful reset button we have. It sends this massive, unmistakable signal to your brain that says, okay, the day has officially started. And that kicks off a whole chain reaction of essential processes in your body. And here's exactly how that chain reaction works. Check this out. As soon as that early, low-angle sunlight hits your eyes, it triggers a healthy spike in cortisol. Now don't worry, that's a good thing in the morning. It's what makes you feel awake and alert. But here's the amazing part. It also starts a 16-hour countdown for your brain to start producing melatonin. You know, the hormone that helps you get sleep? Yes, 16 hours. This is the big takeaway. Your morning walk isn't just for the morning. You are literally telling your body when it should start winding down for bed a full 16 hours in advance. It's incredibly powerful stuff. So the big question is, how do we send the strongest signal possible? Well, let's get into our first level up. This is all about getting the right kind of light at exactly the right time. Okay, here are the ground rules, and they're super simple. First, for at least the first few minutes, you gotta ditch the sunglasses. Your eyes have these special cells that are hungry for direct, unfiltered light. That's also why sitting by a window just doesn't cut it. The glass actually filters out all the good stuff. And the best part, even on a totally gray, cloudy day, there is more than enough of the right kind of light to get the job done. And get this, you don't have to be out there for hours. On a bright, clear day, just 5 to 10 minutes is all it takes to set that powerful anchor. If it's overcast, you might want to aim for more like 15 to 20 minutes to get that same effect. See, it's really that easy. All right, so we've got our light optimized. Perfect. Next up, let's level up the movement itself. We're going to turn that casual stroll into a much more effective workout, and we're not going to add a single minute to your routine. You know, most of us just kind of fall into a steady, consistent pace. And look, that's totally fine. But if you really want to give your heart health a major boost, you have to try interval pacing. It's so simple. Just mix in periods of brisk walking, fast enough that it's a little tough to hold a conversation, with periods of just casual walking to recover. A pattern like 2 minutes fast, 1 minute slow is incredibly effective. And we can get way more muscles involved with just a few little tricks. So start from the ground up. Really think about pushing off with your big toe with every single step. Then focus on swinging your arms from your shoulder, not your elbow. You'll feel your abs and your core light up. And hey, if you're feeling a little adventurous, try walking sideways or even backward for just a few steps. It wakes up a whole bunch of muscles you normally miss. Okay, so we've leveled up our light and we've leveled up our movement. Now let's bring it all home and talk about the final tweaks that really deliver the biggest payoff of all. Now this is one of my absolute favorite pieces of science. It's a concept called optic flow. And just like it says here, the simple act of moving forward and letting the world stream past in your peripheral vision, well, it's been scientifically proven to have a calming effect on your amygdala. That's your brain's anxiety center. So just the way you look at the world on your walk can literally make you less anxious. How cool is that? And to make the most of this, it's really simple. You just have to keep your gaze up, looking out towards the horizon. That's the key to activating optic flow. Also, try to breathe only through your nose. It's way more efficient for oxygen, and it keeps you in this perfect state of calm alertness. And please, I'm serious about this one, put the phone away. Looking down at a screen completely cancels out all the benefits of good posture, of light absorption, and of that amazing optic flow. I mean, this slide just puts it all together perfectly, doesn't it? This is the entire shift from a good walk to a great walk. We're swapping sunglasses for direct light. We're swapping a steady pace for powerful intervals. We're swapping inefficient mouth breathing for focused nasal breathing. And we are swapping a tiny phone screen for the wide open horizon. Every single one of these changes is small, but when you put them together, the effect is absolutely huge. Look, each of these little changes is easy to do, but together they create a totally different experience with massive benefits. And you don't have to do it all at once. So my question for you is pretty simple. What's the one level up you're going to try on your walk tomorrow?
That's
So-
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was that great. And then there's a couple of things that I would tend to not disagree with, but to say everything in moderation. I think you could do that one day or do podcast listening on the walk. I think you could use your phone. You could do a lot of those things
Right.
and find kind of a balance between the two. Sometimes it's great to put your phone away. You want to avoid screen burnout, of course. But sometimes it's great to use it or in a commute or wherever. So that was great. And Ron, why don't you comment? I think this was such a great learning lesson. Why don't you comment kind of as a testimonial that for folks just watching that this learning curve was true. You just did learn it. And you also use some of the things that you had already put into Gemini from some of your other activities, like with Dr. Huberman from Stanford Research Center. And so that's where some of that content came from, but also about becoming an ally. And we could share like a video. It could be about you, could be about FinFit Life in one of our active ally meetings on Fridays, because we want to promote everybody. We want to teach them how to do it just like Ron did at their own level. And there's no shortage of levels that they can take it up to. It just depends on, how little or how much they want to do.
Exactly. So I was thinking too of ways that I could use this because I'm always trying to think of, okay, how can I create more visibility on, let's say, LinkedIn or Facebook? Something I'm definitely going to post this on LinkedIn and Facebook because a big part of our FinFit Life movement, well, the two big parts are health number one, and then finance. We call it, health and money. So this would be, here's a way that you can really supercharge your morning walk, and then post that video. And then, because, on LinkedIn, it'll show, well, how many impressions did I get? How many shares did I get? How many comments and so on. So then, so over time, as I post this, 2 or 3 times a week or more, getting more visibility in an indirect way where people say, wow, this is great. Who is this guy, Ron Horry? So just from a marketing perspective, but what really caught my attention in watching the video is, they took a simple prompt, a response that Gemini gave, and it seems like they went out and so NotebookLM went out and did their own research, right?
Right.
And included that, which I thought was totally mind blowing. So not only did they create the slideshow of the content, but even more than that. So I'm thinking, wow, that is amazing. Well, I guess
Let's go back to your notebook again. Could you screen share your notebook again? And I'll show you about the slideshow, and we can take a look at the slideshow as content as well. Some people might want to use the slideshow to use their own voice. Now, that was an AI generated voice in that video. You could also use the slideshow. Go back to see Studio on the top right, Ron, Studio.
here.
That's your home base. So click on Studio. Okay, now on the right, see how it took you back to all the
Okay.
content you created?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now go down to the top one, the walk. That's the slideshow. Right there is the slideshow. You can open that. Let's take a look at it. Oh, you could download it, but you can open it right there.
Just click
You should be able
here.
to open it right there, I think. Double click on it. And you can make it big. Expand it good. There we go. Okay, so
wow.
now you can comment on this and you could share these slides one by one, the morning walk. So look at these great slides that you can use that you could talk and mix in a story about FinFit life for LinkedIn and talk about walking and FinFit life at the same time and how you are really a senior peak performer or being a peak performer in your life with walking and financial security with FinFit life. So you could really mix up the story and use this slideshow like a teleprompter. So you don't need a co-host. You could actually have this slideshow kind of as a co-host. So when you run out of something to say, you just change slides, read the slide, and just talk about how you can mix in FinFit life story with a daily walk. What do you think of that?
That is outstanding. I knew you were going to blow my mind, but I didn't realize how much you were going to blow it up.
Well, what I'm so excited about, Ron, is how core and how grounded we can really keep this. Now, I've looked at everything and I'm all about a cross-group AI networking across not only Gemini, but ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, all of them really. So, but I also want to get a focus and kind of put on, a tighter focus on what works the simplest, the best, and has the most places to go with it. And I have to say, it is Google. All of my research, and I've looked at everything and continue to, things change. But I believe right now the simplicity is with Gemini and Gmail. You can use Gmail, and you can even upload a slideshow into a Gmail to share as well, or a video that you create. So using Gmail, and that's what we want to do with the AI Foundation, is build our Gmail list to really reach as many people, of course, I can't do it alone, with the help of Google in order to grow nonprofits with Google and Google AdWords. That's what I think will propel us to, over time, with reaching 1 million, because it is lifelong. And I love what I'm doing. I'm just going to do this, my whole life and help other people to do it and pass it on to my children. Like my son Joe was actively involved as an ally, helping me to get the article in Authority magazine up and posted. So, it's fun, it's exciting. it's constant lifelong learning, and there's just so much that we can do with it. So, and I think you went a long way, Ron, to helping me show allies how they can come to a meeting like this, learn how to create a little video, and then share it in our meeting or online to really help us to grow the Senior AI Foundation Education on the Go program.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, one of the ways I was thinking of enrolling more allies is going on LinkedIn and then searching for people that are focusing on seniors.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, that could really, it's like creating, accelerating the explosion, more or less.
And the other one, there's so many great things about it, but we talk about the good and the bad, the ugly of AI, and we have to, to be safe, we have to look at all of them. Because one of the things that I'm going to be doing is talking about scary AI facts, and there are a ton of them. For example, Tristan of One Haven told me a story about a woman that had lost, thought she had found her online love of her life, and ended up losing $300,000 in a scam.
Oh,
And
man.
so, talk about the double whammy of losing the person you thought was the love of your life that was really just an AI fake,
Right.
and being out life savings. So her daughter caught it, and that not only did it damage the senior, it damaged the family and the daughter in her inheritance, and her ability to help take care of her mother. So these are some scary AI facts. Crystal and I talked about being the Paul Revere of AI, spreading the alarm about AI, but also having both sides of the equation to talk about the great opportunities. But they're only great opportunities if you can avoid the risks.
Right.
And so what you really want to do is avoid the risk at all costs. If you take advantage of the opportunities or not, you definitely want to avoid the risk. And they're out there for virtually everybody and their families. And then secondly, the best way to take advantage of using it to enhance your life is by actively using the positive things of it for doctor appointments, lawyer, law, all the different things that we have in our lives we want to be able to handle, with allies. And those allies can be people like Ron Horry can be your ally, or we can have AI bots that are also our allies, like Google and Gemini and NotebookLM. Those are all allies, active allies, right? Yes,
Right.
you saw. But we also have to keep the humanity in there. So you need a human ally like Ron Horry as well.
One thing I was thinking too, as a footnote to what you said, there are these scams, which are very prevalent, but also there's these deep fakes, which leads me to talking about news information. Well, it could be fake news, right? And so I think that's another area. It used to be, well, it's harder and harder today to identify what is a deep fake photo or a deep fake video, especially of a person. Let's say it's a politician or some type of influencer, right? So I think that's a super red flag for people to be aware of in terms of what kind of content are they seeing, and is it really true or is it a fake? Because
Hollywood stars are even copywriting all parts of themselves, their face, their body, their voice, in order to try and prevent that. So you do need to have defenses, you need to have preventative movements, and that's a big part of it. We have to confront that. I'm not about hyping people into, oh, AI is wonderful and it'll solve all your problems. Not at all. It can solve everyday problems, but you have to solve your everyday problem of avoiding, the pain that can come with being abused or taken advantage of by AI and fakes. And, there's so many things out there that we have to be aware of. That's why we're saying, we really are the Paul Revere of AI, to really warn people about the good and the bad, the ugly of AI.
exactly. Well, it's a reality check for people. We want to show them here's what the good is, here's what the bad and ugly is.
So, Ron, you've got a whole week to work on creating a really cool little short for next week of a video that we can share. And, we'll keep teaching people how to use Gemini first. You got comfortable with that, and you put in some input into it, and it remembers you and what you can learn about that. I do, quick note, I do teach people to use two free Gmail accounts to create two Gemini accounts, a private one and a public one. I always had my broadcast name because I was always a freelancer, even when I was with NBC, of Mike Hayes, but my real life name is Mike Hughes. So now I use both because I have to have my public persona as a broadcaster and podcaster of Mike Hayes, but also my private persona of Mike Hughes. So I just use what Gemini has recommended. I have my public persona and my private persona, so I use Mike Hughes Hayes, which suits me to a T. So I'm real used to that. And that's one of the reasons.
Great idea.
Yeah, I've kind of updated it to that. So it covers everything. Because now a lot of us are, online content creators, even for our family. And that's kind of, sometimes people have to unretire and create a new income. And of course, FinFit Life is a great way to go. We think is AI proof. We think that will be around for a long, long time. So I think I want to keep things on time, Ron. I always like to give you the last word of encouragement for seniors and kind of joining us as allies on Friday or joining the AI Foundation email list so they can get content on the go to learn all about staying safe and sound in the era of AI.
Well, I'm thinking of two big aha moments that I'm thinking of just as we went through this whole session. One is enrolling active allies, especially people whose heart-centered mission is to help seniors in whatever way, especially in the health aspect too. Because I look at these examples of seniors and why they should do certain types of exercises to avoid falling down and not being able to get up. I didn't realize that's a serious issue. I see people using these walkers or canes, and so I'm a very avid about my regular exercise. So there are people out there who are senior health coaches or exercise coaches or whatever. So there's a whole audience out there that we can help them reach out and from a heart-centered way to reach out to their audience. And so that's, because I like to learn and I like to share. But then but another area is my own marketing to create a presence. Who is Ron Horry? Oh, he's the health and money guy, in a way. And seriously, the FinFit Life movement, we lead with health. And one of the trainings that we do is tell people, we don't just sell life insurance, because one person was saying, oh, I talked to my person and they're not interested in life insurance. Well, you don't start talking about life insurance. We talk about, hey, do you like to walk? Do you like to work out? Here's a short story. In fact, it's a short script. One of our top trainers, in fact, one of our top leaders who actually created Team Elite, which is the biggest team inside of FinFit Life, he said, hey, here's what you do. In fact, I was on a call with a good friend of mine I hadn't talked to in years. So, he called me and then we had a short chat, talked about what he's doing, how can I help him, talked about the family. And then I said, here's the script. I said, oh, before I let you go, let me ask you a question. Do you have life insurance? And he said, yes. And I said, does your life insurance company pay you to be healthy? And he said, no. And I said, well, how'd you like to learn how you can get paid to be healthy through our company? And he said, yeah, tell me more. Give me a call, follow up in 2 weeks. So that's one way we lead with, the life insurance aspect. However, most of us, but the larger picture is talking about why we want to lead with the health aspect and how we're the only company literally in the US and the world that combines health and finance together, because, being active creates points, and the points can actually lead to discounts on financial products. And sometimes I'll be in a networking group doing my elevator speech, and they'll say, wow, I never heard of this. And I'll say, well, you never heard of it because we invented it.
And it's new,
Anyway.
it's a mission.
So
The
this,
keyword active too, a big part of it. So that's what it's really all about for seniors: staying active, getting active, remaining active, and we all need active allies. And that really is a key. Ron's been a great active ally for a long, long time, and we help each other. We stay active, and we help each other stay active. So we want to invite people to become an active ally, not just an ally, but an active ally, that one that is really participating and help us to grow the Senior AI Foundation. And we will continue training with the Senior AI podcast and learning on the go. And sometimes it's good to sit down and watch, like Ron just did. We'll share how Ron got into Gemini, the short little prompt that you saw, how short it was, really one sentence. And then it created the whole slideshow, created the video, and it even created more. It's created podcasts that Ron can listen to even on the go on his walk. So anyway, Ron, always fun to be here with you. So many exciting things are happening from the publicity article, the work I'm doing with Grow with Google for nonprofits, the expo, learning from the age friendly AI initiative of Ireland. They're using all the aspects of the entire country, from academia to government to local networking to their local libraries. So we want to promote local initiatives, and especially, like Ron mentioned, local media, so that we can, protect our democracy as well with things that we can trust, we know locally. So Ron Horry of FinFit Life.
a quick question.
Yeah.
Is anybody from Ireland going to be going to that Human AI Expo?
I don't know. I really don't know. They're really in their launch phase. I kind of doubt it because they are fully in launch for the first quarter. So they're doing research. They're interviewing seniors to find out what they want to learn. So I will be there, and I will be eyes and ears there, and I will, share anything and everything that I learn there. And of course, I want to stay in touch with what they are learning so that I can use best practices, not only for Irish seniors, but American seniors.
Oh, of course, globally.
A
Well, one thing
different
that caught my
society.
attention, I looked at the Ireland website briefly, and one part of the strategy that caught my attention was the train the trainer
Yeah,
idea, which is similar to your active allies, right? You have these
exactly.
active allies that are another source of information, could be one-on-one, because some people, like to have that one-on-one personal interaction. So we've got these active allies that are learning and then also sharing to their community. So
Well,
it's
it's lifelong learning. So that's why the AI living books is so important, because we'll be on this, when they get their research done and they're ready to go, we'll be there. We'll be there with Human X. We'll be there ongoing, to have supporters and allies like Authority Magazine and the publicity. And yeah, it's just an exciting time. And I'm literally, as a senior, I have to tell you, I've had an exciting career, exciting life. I've got a great family. I am having the time of my life. I'm having
I
fun.
see it. I see it.
And
Well,
I
actually, I'm
keep
thinking
doing
of,
it.
the analogy is the snowball effect. Let's say you've got
Yeah.
this tiny little snowball and you're at the top of the mountain. So you roll the snowball down, and by the time it gets to the bottom, it's this huge avalanche, right?
Right. And the
In a
big
good way.
Exactly, exactly. And the big step for me is getting the nonprofit in place. That'll open up so many doors. You get so many benefits from so many places when you have a nonprofit, getting free rooms at Capital One Cafe and Walnut Creek for some of the big networking events we put on. There's just a lot of great benefits, especially I think in the era of AI. With having a nonprofit, it shows where your heart is, and getting the support from Google. There's just a lot to it. So it's a big puzzle, but there's a lot of big mysteries and puzzles in life, especially with AI. And I use my background as a researcher with NBC to solve everyday problems, and I love it.
Exactly.
It's my
Exactly.
passion, and I enjoy doing it. So, Ron
That's
Horry, as always,
outstanding.
thanks for being here, my friend. Thanks for being an ally, an
My
active
pleasure.
ally, a very active
Absolutely.
ally.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Ron.
All right. Have a great weekend.
You too.